Hello, everybody out there in Internetville. This is Sean Hill, better known as HillStreetViewz.
This is James Shaw, aka Cinemeleon.
All right, and we are here today to do our worst films of 2014 so far. It's been a terrible year for films, at least that's my opinion. There really hasn't been a lot to write home about. I know I compiled my worst list, and I had to actually make some tough choices of who to leave off, and we'll get into that in a little bit. What are your feelings of 2014 so far, James?
Yeah, no, I agree. My top 10 best were really easy to do. The worst, I had about 20 on here. I had to get down. I had to get down to the very nitty gritty of the worst. So these people that made the list, congratulations to them. So
All right, a little background on both of us. We attend a lot of screenings. I would say what about 80% of them we see together. So some of this may not be a surprise to either one of us as far as what films are on our list. It's just going to be the ranking that's probably the surprise. We do discuss some of the films when we're there and afterwards. So but in any event, it's still going to be interesting because I have no idea what he's going to put on his list. He has no idea what's on my list. So, without further ado, James, what is your number 10 worst film of 2014 so far?
all right, so as you and I, we always agree on this. So no list is complete without Tyler Perry film. So far, the only Tyler Perry film on there so far we've seen is Tyler Perry Single Moms Club. That is my number 10. And of course, reasons. I mean, typical Tyler Perry. Bad acting, horrible script. Personally, I think this film was made just so he can kiss Neil off. That's really my belief of why this film was even made.
All right. Well, I agree with you that it is one of the worst films of the year. However, it did not make my list this year. That just goes to show you there are even worse films than that. I although I found it bad, I didn't find it as bad as some of his other films. There's a lot of things that are wrong with it. It's poorly written. The concept uh, could make a good movie in
Yeah,
better
I agree.
hands.
Yep.
But unfortunately, did you find the women? They, except for of course the ghetto one, they were all in pretty good financial positions. It seemed like, so I didn't really see why they had the need to watch each other's kids and so they could go out. It would seem like they would have the means to actually be able to afford daycare or babysitter or what have you. So that didn't really ring true. And I don't know, the characters just really seem really paper thin to me. And of course, you mentioned Tyler Perry, and he's not wearing a dress this time, but still his acting skills leave a lot to be desired.
Yep, 100% agree with that.
All right. So we're in agreement. It is one of the worst, but again, not on my list.
Wow.
My number 10 is Into the Storm, and I gotta tell you, special effects wise, it's pretty decent, but story wise, it is absolute dreck. There are so many moments in the film where I just went, I'm like shrugging my shoulders, going, what?
Yeah.
My favorite scene is the the town is trapped in the school. Well, not the whole town, but a lot of them. And the principal's like, "Okay, we got to get out of here. The tornado's coming. Get to the buses, right?" So they
Right.
start running out to the buses, and as they're running out to the buses, there's a bus that's already leaving. So I'm going, okay, they just went out. How are they already? How's already a bus full? And then where did the keys to the buses come from? Or are they? Do they keep them in the bus? And most importantly, who are driving the buses? So, I mean, just typically a special effects type movie, you don't really want to ask a lot of questions. But I left just going, why? So,
And that is one of the reasons why I skipped this film. I knew it would be something like that, so I said, you know what, I'm going to sit back. I'm not going to waste my time, energy trying to watch that film, and I believe it did flop, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
So yeah, I really just watched Twister. If I'm gonna watch anything, I'll just watch Twister. You
Yeah,
know.
I actually didn't like Twister. I know it was on my list of the worst films of 96, 97, whatever year it came out. But this makes Twister look like Pulp Fiction. I I mean, it's just it's like a one of those sci-fi like Sharknado or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
it's
right.
one of those just with better special effects. And as I know we've discussed offline many times, it's 2014. I expect the special effects to be great. That doesn't even impress me anymore. So going in, the effects are going to be great. Take the time to write a good script. So anyway, that's number 10 for me. Into the Storm. Go ahead. What's your number 9?
My number nine is actually a double here. It's actually both Hercules films that came out this year. I couldn't decide on which one to put, so I put them both down. I mean, I'm not sure. Hercules been done more times than I can remember. And the first one that came out beginning of the year, I didn't realize it was PG. So when I was watching it, I was like, man, how is this guy beating like 20 people up and there's not an ounce of blood? I didn't get that. But after I found out it was PG, I'm like, okay, that kind of made sense. But still, you can't make this kind of movie PG. I mean, I'm not sure who of course, I wasn't the target audience, but also the CGI in this was terrible. There was a lion in there. That thing looked so, you could tell it looked so fake. And I mean, I was just so upset, pissed off at that movie. But I was like, you know what? The Rock's gonna come back in July or whatever. He's gonna make a better one. I have faith in The Rock. Boy, was I ever wrong. That one was just as terrible. Like I said Lucy was gonna beat it, and sure enough, it did. The Rock just cannot carry a film on his own right now. I mean, he just
Yeah,
can't. He
I
does the
agree.
same type of roles. And then, like I said, Hercules, the best one I've seen has been the Disney Channel one, the animated one. That's been the best rendition of Hercules, and to this day remains the same. And that was like 10 years ago that it first came out. So they need to stop with Hercules and focus on something else.
All right. Well, like you with Into the Storm, I skipped both Hercules screenings, so I don't have an opinion on either one of them, other than to say The Rock is good at marketing his films. We're based out of San Diego, and here at Comic Con, The Rock held a screening, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it ended up taking over two theaters.
I think I actually took over the whole entire theater. And funny story about that. Several weeks before, I offered my passes like, "Hey, there's gonna be Hercules screening." So I said, "Nah, I don't want him." The minute The Rock announces he's there, oh boy, did I ever get hit up! Hey, James, you got those passes? I'm like, "Oh, I had it, but I thought now you want to see it all of a sudden." So he's definitely right. He definitely marketed the film, you know. But you can do all the marketing in the world, you know. But to us real fans, you know
Right.
how movies bad, movies bad. So.
I agree. All right, moving on. My number 9, and this is a film that I know you have an opinion on because we saw it together. Number 9 breaks my heart. Miss Chloe, If I Stay. I had really high hopes for this film only because I really like her as an actress. Of course, the Kick-Ass films, but she was also very good in Let Me In and Carrie. Although that was based on another movie, she was actually good in it. Although the movie wasn't that good. So kind of go in this one. Okay, this is a new character, so to speak. She's kind of grown up, playing more of an adult role. And it missed the mark in every way. It wasn't. I could never figure out why she actually would even question living, because she had the perfect life. She had a perfect family. She had a boyfriend that that loved her, and she was a talented musician. And there was nothing unless I missed it, unless it was in the book, which I haven't read the book, of course. I just never got that nexus, and there was never that scene. Like, I was waiting on something to happen with a boyfriend, something, he cheats on her, he never loved her, he's using her, and we never get that. We never get that scene. So why? I don't care. I'll spoil it. Yeah, her family dies in this accident, the car accident, that she's in the hospital and she's deciding whether she wants to live or not. Yes, her family dies, but why would that be the only reason why you wouldn't want to live? You would want to go on to to carry the legacy on, so to speak. This thing was poorly written, poorly directed. And you remember I leaned over to you and asked if it was blurry. Do you remember at the start of the
Yeah,
film?
yeah.
It even looked bad. This was just a bad looking movie, because I'm thinking, well, it's got to be the projectionist, but you said the same thing too, so it wasn't just me. So, but yeah, I just didn't like this film at all. And I almost didn't want to put it on my worst list because I respect her as an actress so much. But after a lot of soul searching, no pun intended, it had to go on the list because it was just horrible.
Yeah, they said I agree 100%. I expected it to be, fairly decent, like you said. So up to this point, Chloe hasn't really played a normal character per se. This is kind of the first time we see her as a normal character, So I was thinking, what cool, I want to support that, Let Me In, I think was great in that film, and but yeah, like I said, there was never any real conflict. I mean, if you want to call that little fight they had, but that terrible written fight, by the
That
way.
was terrible. I was gonna mention that. I'm glad you did. Go
So
ahead.
yeah, that very terrible argument they had, and I mean, it was they try to make us have some sort of drama. Very poor attempt at a drama. I mean, if you want more drama, all you have to do watch these little reality shows. 5 seconds of that will be more drama than this whole movie tried to portray. Um, and one thing that I really didn't like about this film was they made out more than they actually talked to each other this whole film. So how they fall in love so quickly, I don't know. I mean, but yeah, like I said, it was just very very terrible. And like there was no real reason for within 20 minutes of the film, you can tell what the end result's gonna be.
Well, she's
I mean,
gonna die. I mean,
right, she's not going to die clearly. And the way as the movie goes on and on, you're like, okay, yeah, the poor attempts establishing drama. What I really thought about too was, even my opinion was, even if she was going to wake up as an orphan, it worked out for Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne, so it could work out for her as well. I was like, you know what, she should definitely stay. But yeah, it was just I would like to read the book or know or someone who read the book if they can kind of enlighten me if the book is better.
yeah, hit us
Because
up.
I don't think I mean I read the little handout they gave us, a little brief synopsis of the film, the little partially the novel. That wasn't very exciting. So hopefully, if the novel's more better, I'm willing to give it a shot. But it was the way it was directed, just very very terrible. I said it was a good premise, sort of. It could have definitely been done a lot better. And I think we both agree the best scene was the car accident. It was shot very nicely. It kind of had a nice moment to it, and then after that, movie just went downhill. So
My favorite scene, and I say favorite tongue in cheek, is when she goes in her room and he's there, and he had done the roof of the rehearsal hall that she's going to be doing her audition. You remember that? And he had
yeah.
taped the. How did he do that? First of all, how was he able to fix it like that? Each page, this was paper. This wasn't like one long thing. This was like a ream of paper that he used. And I'm like, okay, when did he have time to do this? Did he use a ladder? How was he able to actually put this puzzle together, which was essentially what it was? And then there's no mention of it. She kind of looks up at it and she goes, "Oh, thanks," and that's it.
Yeah, if you did that for me, boy, my iCloud photos will be leaked. I'll tell you that. If you did that for me, yeah, we'll be a lot more than just a thank you, But I know what you mean. It was just kind of a big moment, and she didn't really care.
Yeah.
I would ask questions like, "Hey, you creeper! Like, what are you doing? How you got time to do this? My family, like, you know what I mean?" But yeah, of course, it was part of that lovey moment, Sean. Maybe we missed it,
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. You mentioned that, and this was one of the reasons why I kind of debated about putting it on my list. Because at the core of it, there is a good love story between the two of them. I was more interested in that aspect of the film as far as him being a musician, her being a musician, but different types of musician. So they both kind of understand their worlds a little bit. They both, I like the fact that we see them rehearsing because you don't see that a lot
right.
in movies about musicians. You could almost just take out the whole plot, the whole "if I die," and just focus on them. I know that's not the movie. That's not the movie they wrote. That's not the book it's based on. But I would have rather have seen that than what we ended up with. So, all right. So moving on from now, all right, I've already got lost. Have you done your number? No, it's up to your number 8 now, right?
Yep, My number 8 is another early film this year. I Frankenstein. I'm not sure if you've seen that one.
I skipped that one as well.
Yeah, that one was I don't know any nice words to describe it, but it was just yeah flat out terrible. I mean, it was definitely a waste of time, energy. It was a blatant rip off of Underworld, and I really love the Underworld series. But yeah, it was just bad. I'm not sure Aaron Eckhart trying to get that money. I don't know what drew him to this role, but it definitely was not the right role, not the right movie, and it was just terrible in more ways than one. So there's not one good thing to say about this film.
Yeah,
So
let me give you. I didn't see the movie, but let me give you a funny story on that I may have shared with you before, but of course
yeah, I
not the
think so.
listeners. So I saw a trailer for this when I went and saw the press screening for Hunger Games, the second Hunger Games. Now you've been to press screenings since then, and you know how stuffy they can be sometimes.
Right.
Um, there was audible, eruptible laughter from the press corps when this trailer was airing and after it was over. I haven't seen that before that. I haven't seen it since. The trailer was so bad that the members of the press were laughing at it. I knew at that point that was a movie I was going to be skipping because I was laughing at it too. And I took my wife to this one, and she was looking at me like, "Are you actually going to go see this?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to go see this." So that's basically my extent of knowledge of that movie. I know it flopped. I know it bombed. It looked terrible. Life is too short to go see
Sucker.
bad movies, so I just decided, skip that one. All right, my number 8 is a film I actually didn't see in the theaters. I obtained it. I believe you saw it in the theaters though. Vampire Academy.
Oh boy, yeah.
This movie tried it wore its hipness on its sleeve. It was trying to be so hip, so current, so almost. And I'm going to date myself here a little bit. It was almost trying to be like Clueless a little bit, where the characters are supposed to be smart. They're saying this smart dialogue, but you don't believe it for a second. And I wish I could give you this long narrative about the plot and the characters and all this, but honestly, I don't remember. I watched it here at home. I think on a Saturday afternoon. My wife wanted to see it. My daughter wanted to see it, so I basically watched it with them. And I sat and watched it with this just utterly glazed look on my face the entire time. Now, my wife, who has read the book that the film is based on, she even thought it was terrible. And so she said it was nothing like the book. This was different, that was different, this was different. So if a fan of the book hates the movie, then you know you got a bad movie. So there you
Yep, this is pretty much that Twilight syndrome here. Every young adult book now seems to be coming into a movie, and we see with it staying with If I Stay, just also Mortal Instruments. We see not every movie doesn't translate into movies very well. Every book, some things you can try, some things you can. And Vampire Academy was definitely one that should not have translated to on-screen film. So it was laughable at best. But yeah, that was a terrible movie. I think when I was to that screening, there was probably about 20 people, I believe, there, if even that,
go.
and no one had any, no one laughed, no one cared. I mean, no one had any reaction to this movie, but I just wasted an hour of my time. So glad you saw it at home. You just, you were at home doing it, but I wasted gas, I wasted everything, and I should sue them for wasting my time, but I guess we can't do that. So
All right. What's your number 7?
my number 7 is Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones. I believe this might be on your list, or no, please say number. This movie. Now, look, I'm a fan of horror movies. I love the first two Paranormal. I thought were very good. This one, I don't know why it came out in January. That was a big no. Horror movie coming out in January. Come on, that can't spell any good. But yeah, the movie was terrible. It's still one problem I have with these films is why are they recording? There's never a reason. They don't give you a reason for why they're recording everything. In this movie example, yeah, it's like a poor family all saying has a pretty nice, decent camera or whatever, and it's like, why are you recording? They never give a reason to be recording. The first one they had, I mean, kind of had a reason to start recording, but this one there's absolutely no reason to record any of the events that occurred. And yeah, it was just a terrible film. I hope the next one they come out with, the part five, hopefully it's better than this. But yeah, this movie was terrible, unscary, and yeah, the formula's running out pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. I agree with you. This film is on my list of the worst. It's number four actually. So I put it a little higher than you, which makes me wonder what did you see in it that made you put it that high on your list. But again, this is another one that I didn't go to the screening for, but I obtained it and I watched it in the comfort of my own home. And I watched this thing and I was just like you. Why are you still recording? Why are you recording, first of all? And then your friends are getting eaten, bit, whatever, and you're still recording. Put the damn camera down and help your friends. You know? Yes, the formula is this genre is dead. The formula is played. And as you know, I've put a ban on all found footage movies. I will no longer be going to see any film that the basis of it is found footage. They try to even link it back to which one, part three, I believe, or four. I don't even know. I've kind of lost count, and even that was a little bit laughable too.
Yeah.
And we didn't really get into this, but I would say that also I think it was somewhat a racist film because
Yeah, I agree.
the Mexican aspect of it, and I don't know, maybe I don't hang around a lot of Mexican people, but I don't believe that all of them talk like that in that stereotypical, hey man, hey SA, that kind of thing. And that was the basis of the dialogue. I mean, I did not like this film at all. They're
And
coming. Go ahead.
And of course, at the end, of course, the two people that help him are the two most gang cholos you ever would see. That's the most typical Mexican they had. It's like, come on, the two people at the end. You could have someone, don't do all this. Tattoos, of course, gang members. Like, come on, You could at least have someone who wasn't. At least don't make it present every single Mexican in that film,
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah.
all right. So, all right. Moving on to my number seven. And that was your number seven, right?
Yes.
Okay. My number seven, and this may be our first disagreement. This is another film we saw together, and I think we have a difference of opinion on it. Snowpiercer comes in at number seven of my worst film of the year, and I have been dogged by my brothers over at podcastjuice.net for not liking this film. I had dogged it out before they saw it. And then, well, I think only one of them seen it. Q Storm, my friend, he ended up seeing it. He loved it. And I'm like, I'll hold off for your response yet. I like the overall. I like the look of the film, but the story. I've seen this story before. The future is bleak. Okay, how many times have we seen that? We have this train that's going around the Earth because that's where all the survivors are. It's too cold. Earth is inhabitable, and so it's too cold to be outside of this train. So you've got the different classes of. You've got the poorest people kind of towards the back of the train. They're the laborers, and each car represents a different group of society, and the closer you get to the engine, the conductor, the higher, the better it gets, and all that. And I was bored with it, and to add the fact that it has the single most annoying character I believe I have ever seen in the history of film. And I don't remember the character's name, but the character's played by Tilda Sweden.
Yes.
Not sure if it's supposed to be a man, not sure if it's supposed to be a woman. I'm going to kind of tell another story out of school here real quick, and then I'll get your reaction. You remember when this character, and this is another spoiler, when this character dies, do you remember what I did? Yes,
I believe you clapped
I
or said.
clapped. Now, you know me in screenings. I'm very, once this movie starts, I'm into my notes. Unless it's bad, then you and I will jaw back and forth. But I'm typically focused on the film. I I clapped. I audibly clapped at the death of this character. So that should give you an indication of how much I didn't like that character or the movie. You have the floor, sir.
All right. Well, Snowpiercer is actually one of my best films. I'm not gonna say too much into it till we get to that point.
Okay.
But yeah, I do agree her character was a little annoying, but there is a character that's more annoying than that, which will be on my number one. But yeah, so I mean, what I really liked about it, but I'll just say briefly. I mean, I really like Chris Evans' role in this. I mean, he's definitely done well. I mean, prior to Captain America, hasn't really done anything remarkable. I mean, it's been nothing. But this role, he's really definitely changed a lot. I just love his performance in it. I love some of the action scenes in it. I mean, it was very difficult to have really good action scenes in such a tight space,
Yeah,
but
I give you that. There was
they
one
definitely
good.
utilized it. Yeah, I think we know what you're talking about, though. Yeah, well, could
Yeah,
get it to my
yeah, we'll
top.
get
Yeah,
into that.
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
I thought it was a good film, so I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. So moving on. My number six, and I think we saw this one together too. I think we pretty much seen them all together. But my number six is Labor Day. The Josh Brolin. Gosh, who's the chick? Kate Winslet. Romantic thing that was the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. And I remember my review. I wrote, "Bake a cake, get the girl." I don't know, or bake a pie, get the girl. I don't know if you remember that scene where he makes the pie, and like instantly she's in love with him, and you go, what, huh?
Yeah, this is actually a film that I skipped,
Oh,
and I
you
still have
skipped.
yet.
Okay.
Yes, I still have yet to see it because it looked terrible. And after I read your review and your thoughts, I'm like, "There's no way I'm wasting my time
Right.
on this film." So I pretty
Normally,
much,
normally, normally, I would say, just see it, and you may find something that you're like, no, I know you well enough to know you would probably hate this movie more than I did.
right.
There is. I don't mind a movie being sappy, and this will probably come up on our. Matter of fact, I know it's going to come up on our best list. So I don't mind that. So I don't want to get people get it twisted that it's a romantic movie and you just don't like romance. No, if a movie's well done, I will admit it. This was not well done at all. The story makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but essentially, James Brolin is a escaped felon. He kidnaps Kate Winslet and her son, but he's not like a mean kidnapper. He's a nice guy. He's a nice criminal. He doesn't want to hurt them, and so long story short, she falls in love with him after he makes a pie. I'm not kidding you. And then she decides that she wants to run off with him, and things happen, and credits roll, and yeah, it's not worth the time of day. It truly was horrible, and yeah, no one in the screening liked it. All right, you're number six.
All right, my number six is actually Vampire Academy. So we already discussed that. So yeah, just another terrible film. So already discussed that. So I'll move to
Go to your
my number
number
five.
five. Yeah.
Yeah, my number five, which is probably I think close to yours. Yours might be higher, but Brick Mansions. Brick Mansions. I'm sorry, fans of Paul Walker. I have no remorse going to films. I think a lot of people liked it since it was his last film he completed. But once again, if Getaway, if Selena Gomez can't save Getaway, nothing can save a film for me. So, if people don't know, I'm a really big fan of Selena Gomez. So, Brick Mansions was a terrible film. The original was actually better. So I don't know how you make the same movie bad. I just don't understand that. But yeah, it was terrible, and especially I'm not sure most people have seen it, but the ending when if the lady knew the code to the bomb, I don't get why she just didn't put the damn code in.
Yes.
She had it. I don't get why you just didn't put it in. And of course, being a Michigan guy, this is a horrible film. I mean that's why Detroit is bankrupt for this, and also that Tyler Perry film last year. And another film on my list, Why Detroit's Bankrupt. This is the reason why.
I
You
forgot about that.
Yeah, you force bad films to be filmed in Detroit, and yeah, the result doesn't end very well. So I'm sorry, fans of Paul Walker and Paul Walker. You're a great guy, but this movie was just terrible, and I'm sorry, but had to put it on the list.
I'm in agreement with you that it's a bad film, but it didn't make my worst list. And after listening to you talk about it and looking at my list, I'm almost there was just no place for it. Just the other films I hated even more. Although I really really hated this one. I forgot. I think I gave it 1 star on the blog. Nothing in this movie works. Nothing at all. There's no chemistry between Paul Walker and the French guy who, remember, we couldn't even know. We didn't know if he was even if he had dialogue or not because his. I thought he was dubbed. I'm still gonna say that the other guy, which I can't remember his name now, I'm saying he's dubbed. Yeah, you pointed out the biggest gap in the movie where the guys are fighting over putting the code into this thing, this bomb that's going to destroy this building. But the girl that's yelling at them, she knows the code. She can just put the code in rather than yelling at them to stop fighting. Yeah, but I think both of us had stopped caring at that point. Yeah, it was a terrible film. And yeah, poor Paul Walker. I mean, that's the last film that he completed. Of course, he didn't know that, but it's kind of sad that that's going to be like the living legacy of completed work for him is that god awful film. All right, my number 5, and I know this is on your list, and I'm surprised I haven't heard it yet. So I know I'm beating you to the gun, and you're probably going to be mad at me for not putting it higher. Blended is number 5 for me. Mr. Adam, I only do movies to take vacation. Sandler strikes again. This movie, again, it should be higher, but once you know what's above it, you probably maybe more understanding. Again, this is a film that just went on and on and on. There's nothing worse than a comedy, sitting in a comedy that does not make you laugh. I did not laugh one time during this film. Everybody in it is, well, I won't say it's an embarrassment. Actually, only the black characters, you may have more to say on that, but Shaq was an embarrassment. He can't. Shaq, love you, bro, but stop acting. Terry Crews set black people in films back about 20 years. If buffoonery and coonery sums up his role. And then the tour guide, he was just as bad with his stereotypical African thing. We'll give a brief synopsis of the film. Drew Barrymore's in it. They play this couple that somehow, it could only happen in the movies. They end up in this resort for blended couples where, each couple has a kid and they will become step kids. And so they win this trip to Africa, and hilarity, and I'm using air quotes, ensue. As with any Adam Sandler film, there's product placements galore. I remember Nike, Hooters, Dick's, DC.
I like that,
shoes.
Hooters and Dicks. Sorry, good joke.
That was not intentional. So yeah, and yeah, it just wasn't good. And I'm on record but not liking Adam Sandler in films. He's only made, I think, 2 or 3 movies that I've actually thought were halfway decent. This is not one of them. Definitely skip it. I know you share my hatred of this film, so go ahead. You have the floor.
It wasn't as bad as I thought. But yeah, it definitely was terrible. Only Adam Sandler movie I like, Waterboy. And yeah, Waterboy's pretty much the only one I thought was okay. I would watch it. But he's done the same role every single movie. It's the same role, and he's just not. He's not funny. He's not entertaining. He's not anything. And I thought Drew Barrymore was somewhat decent in this film, but she was just ruined by the whole with terrible dialogue, this terrible story, and yeah, of course, yeah, the black people in this film. I don't know. Cherry Crew. I love the guy, but he just needs to. It's okay to not make a movie. You know what I mean? You don't gotta accept every single role. Maybe he's just trying to do that because his NFL career didn't go well, so he's trying to become a name for himself. That's great.
Well, that ain't gonna do it.
That ain't gonna do it. And Shaq,
like this,
yeah. And Shaq, this is your second, was it Shaq's second time being an embarrassment character in an Adam Sandler film? I'm not sure what kind of partnership they have, but Shaq, if you need a job, I
He's
mean,
got a job.
I guess, yeah,
He's
if you
on
need another
TNT.
job, man, my store is hiring. We could probably use you as security or something, Shaq. But yeah, definitely, yeah. It was a terrible film. Blended, yeah. It's hopefully Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore stop. I think there's what third time they've been a
Yeah, I
couple.
think third.
Third time.
And I want to say something about that too, because that was one of the things I mentioned in my review. They obviously have off-screen chemistry, but I don't think it translates on screen. I think they're too comfortable with one another now, and
Right.
I just think it shows there wasn't any really tension between the two of them, and I know both of them can act, so I know that they're capable of that. I just think that they're such good friends, and they can't bring that out as characters, making the other one uncomfortable. Now I do want to I want to say praise this film for one aspect: the daughter, the tomboy daughter, that character.
Right. Oh yes, yes.
That was an interesting character, and I wish they kind of would have delved a little bit more into that. But there's we had to give time to the travel log material, and then the Terry Crews material. Now, is this film on your list?
It's actually not on my list.
Okay,
Like I said,
so you pulled I like with the Tyler Perry, the just not enough room for
there's not room for, like I
it.
said, my list really could be about 30 or 40 of these, really, if I
Yeah,
really broke it down. But I had to put down, films. Like I said, well, at the end we'll discuss
yeah.
why kind of our grouping. So, but yeah, see, it wasn't
Okay.
on my list at all.
All right, that really that surprised me though, because I remember now I know we saw that one together. Now I remember we both were
Yeah.
pretty much jawing on it while we were watching it. But no, I respect it. All right, so moving on. My number 4 we've already discussed: Paranormal Activity, the marked one. So go ahead with your number 4.
My number 4 is RoboCop. RoboCop, I will give it credit to RoboCop. The first screening I saw as press, so thank you, RoboCop, for being the first. But yeah, once again, the original was better. This movie just had no point to it, no real threat. I mean, the movie could have been taken out completely. I think it would have been a better aspect. Not just take RoboCop out of it, and it would have been a better film. He didn't do anything worth being RoboCop. It was just terrible remake. Put a lot of money into this film. It probably got nowhere near any of it back. But yeah, I just didn't see a real. Only thing I liked about it was they kind of had the new black suit, so that was pretty cool. But other than that, yeah, this another once again, terrible dialogue, waste of Detroit's money again. Uh, and yeah, there's not one good thing to say about this. Just if you want to watch RoboCop, watch the originals. The actor's actually 10 times better, had a better story. It actually had kind of a meaning for RoboCop. There was a real threat there.
Yeah. No, I agree with you that it's bad, but it didn't even make my initial rundown of worst movies. Every whenever I'm devising my list, I always just the first movies that pop in my head, I'll just write them down in the worst, and I start marking off. I didn't like it, but I thought it was at least well made, which I know I'm kind of contradicting myself because again, 2014, you expect a film like that to be well made. Honestly, I really have put it out of my mind because the original is better, is a light years better. There was no reason for this movie to be made other than the effects. To take a hard R rated action movie from the 80s and make it a watered down PG-13 version of the film is definitely something that is blasphemy in my eye. Here's a parameter too that I kind of use with this. I took my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, to see it, and she could have cared less about it. She even has the poster in her. I just bought her, or not bought her. I got her the poster, put it in her room. She doesn't care. I mean, a film like that, if you can't grip young audiences in, then you're lost. So why even make it PG-13 if you're not even going to make it at least interesting enough to where kids would even halfway enjoy and halfway care what's going on? So yeah, I somewhat agree with you that it's bad, but I probably for different reasons. So But all right, so I'll move on. Number 3. Now, we've talked about this film ad nauseum, so I'm pretty sure it's on your list as well. The ranking has changed, and you'll find out why soon. But number 3 is Ride Along.
That's actually my number 3 as well. So.
All right, good. So the most unoriginal, uninteresting, unfunny film I have probably seen in the last, I don't know, 10 years. Kevin Hart's expiration date is now here. I think his stick is now played, although I did enjoy parts of Think Like a Man 2, but we're not reviewing Think Like a Man 2. I just thought that they took the buddy cop formula, and I've always said that, yes, we want originality in movies. The buddy cop formula is nothing new. You and I both know that. The Heat last year, which I really liked, it was on my best list. I don't know your film.
Yeah, I like the Heat too. I thought it was good.
But they took a formula that is played, and they made it original. They gave it a twist. It's 2 women versus 2 men. That's all you need. Here, we've got the same thing. The only twist that they gave, but it didn't even work, was that they knew each other prior to having to team up. That's the only twist that they gave it, and then that didn't even work. It didn't even help it make it better. The plot is stupid. I don't even remember what the plot is now at this point. I know it had something to do with Lawrence Fishburne, probably drugs or guns. Kevin Hart is trying his best to elevate this material, but when the material's not there, it's just not there. Eddie Murphy could probably do something with it. Maybe even a Bill Murray could do something with it, but he's just not at that level. And I just didn't like it. I mean, just and now they're making a sequel, which hurts my heart too. Unfortunately, we'll probably be there, and we're pen in hand, ready to dog it out. So, but yes, Ride Along. It had sat at my number 1 for the longest time, and it's not the worst movie I've seen this year, and of course not now because it's now bumped up. But it represents everything about films that I hate: unoriginality, poor writing, poor character. Just putting the camera on people and just letting it roll. That's not going to work anymore. You gotta have characters. You write characters that people will actually care about. Kevin Hart cannot go on playing Kevin Hart. Okay, Ice Cube cannot go on playing Ice Cube in movies. They've both. You know what would have been funny? Flop the roles. Kevin Hart played the Ice Cube role. Ice Cube played the Kevin Hart role. That would have been funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So before I get to my review, yes, pretty much we gotta let people know both of us are African American. Yes. So just go it out there. But yeah, this movie, yeah, it represents the current state of African American films. This movie does not deserve a sequel. It didn't deserve to be. Well, I guess it didn't deserve to be made, from my opinion. But of course, they come running. Kevin Hart, people, I'm gonna go watch it. Our people of our color, gotta go watch it. We need to demand change. Okay, this movie was, like you said, unoriginal. Just I didn't find anything funny about this movie. Kevin Hart annoys me in films. He's the same loud he always is. I'm trying to watch the film. You don't need to. Kevin Hart, just go do stand up. You guys want to just do a stand up film about Kevin Hart again? Just do that. But yeah, Ice Cube plays the same roles. 22, 21 Jump Street. He has that same stupid look he always has on his face. I'm tired of seeing it. But yeah, this movie. As soon as I saw this movie, if you would have told me there's gonna be a sequel, if you would have bet me, I would have lost. I would have said no way in hell is this movie gonna get a sequel. But once you make that threshold, let's make a sequel. So I'm bound to see what they're going to do with it. Of course, you're right, we will be there, but luckily, not coming out of my pocket, so I don't mind.
Let's be clear. Ride Along made money. It made its budget back. So
which is worth
It, quote unquote, air quotes here, it earned a sequel. That's all Hollywood cares about nowadays is the bottom line. But look, you and I, we just made a better film just now. Flop the roles. Chris Tucker. Kevin Hart played the Ice Cube role. Ice Cube played the Kevin Hart role. That To me, I'm already laughing now. That's fine. Hollywood, send us your scripts. We'll rewrite them for you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll make them better. All right. So moving on, number two, and I don't know if you saw this one or not, and I'm going to be very frank and honest about my number two. I hated it, but I'm not going to be able to talk about it too much because I honestly checked out of it so early that I really don't know what was going on. But my number two is The Giver.
Uh,
A movie I gave it. If I was going to review it, a movie I hated so much, I didn't even bother to review it. If I was writing a review, I would have given it 0 stars. There was nothing about this movie that interested me at all, and it's the same formula that we've seen in Divergent and Hunger Games and even Snowpiercer. The bleak future. Well, let me ask: Did you see it before I talk about it?
yeah, I did see it, but I checked out after
Okay.
like 10 minutes of it.
Now,
So
good. Okay, we haven't talked about this film, so this should be interesting. Okay, so the beginning with the black and white. Now, I understood what they were trying to do with it. I get it. I'm a smart man. However, it looked. I don't know if I don't know where you saw it, but it looked ugly, and I know that was the point. But I couldn't look at the screen because what I was looking at was it hurt my eyes to really look at it. And to give the viewers a little or listeners a little background here, the film takes place in the future, and for some reason they start the film in black and white to represent how bleak the future is and how bland it is. But again, the black and white that they used was so ugly. And if that was the point that the director was trying to make, he overmade it. Because I couldn't look at the movie, and because it was like every time I look at it, I go, "Oh God, that's terrible."
yeah, no, I agree.
And then at that point, I knew what was going to happen. Not because I've seen Pleasantville, but I knew we were going to be as the film progressed, we get splotches of color as things start to happen. Which, in fact, it did happen, and then we finally get to the color. Jeff Bridges is now starting to annoy me. He's one of my favorite actors. Now it's like he used to be one of my favorite actors. He has now played his Rasta Cogborn character now twice in a film that you and I both hated last year. At least I know I hated it. I believe you did too. R.I.P.D.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that. That was an interesting film.
Yeah, and now in this one. I don't know if he's had a stroke. I'm sorry, Jeff. I don't mean to make fun of you, but he's now talking like he's suffering from a stroke. He's got that drawl, that slow talking thing that he used in R.I.P.D. and also in True Grit. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's not working. Is this the best you got? He brings nothing to the role at all. And again, he made me check out. Meryl Streep, the actress, besides Jodie Foster, the actress of the last, 40 years.
40 years, yep.
What is she doing in this?
Paycheck, man, paycheck. Struggle.
Is it that tough for Meryl Streep that she got to take a movie for a check? I mean, I know Jodie Foster took a movie for a check last year, Elysium. Has it gotten that bleak for actresses their age that they gotta? I mean, I'm okay. Meryl Streep. I'm gonna see something interesting. I'm gonna see a performance. Something's gonna, wow me. And there was nothing there. Nothing. So yeah, I just did not like this movie at all. And I know.
Yeah.
I guess it's a popular book. And I'll tell another story out of school because I know we didn't see this one together, obviously. After the screening is over, and we'll give people a little insight, the studio reps typically will ask for our reactions of movies right after we see them, which you and I both are not a fan of, but we sometimes do it. I came out of the theater late. I was packing up my bag, and there were 2 reps there. Normally there's usually only one, but there were 2 reps. And I could hear both of the critics. This was a press-only screening, by the way. And I could hear both critics saying how much they hated the film. and I was like, wow, okay, I guess I wasn't the only one. And as I'm giving my impressions to Steve, shout out to Steve. I looked at his notepad just out of curiosity, and I saw hated it, sucked, terrible. I saw, and so I said, he said, "So what'd you think?" I said, "Oh, dude, it was horrible. It was horrendous." I said, "I'm gonna give you a word that's not already on your pad, but I would say horrendous." So, uh,
Wow, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that's pretty.
yeah, I don't think I ever told you that story. Yeah. All right, you have the
Yeah.
floor, sir.
All right, yeah. So, Giver, I checked out about 15 minutes of it. I actually saw it at AMC La Jolla. Yeah, I checked out. I thought you're
Now,
right, Jeff
I don't.
Bridges.
Sorry to
I don't
interrupt you.
know.
I don't want to interrupt. But did you have the same feeling about the black and white that I did?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it felt a little. I don't know. It was something off a little bit, you
Yeah.
know. I thought it was just me. I knew it was like five people when I watched it, so I was like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna go up and ask anyone else if they thought the same thing. But I remember you mentioned that too, so I was like, okay, so it's not just me because I have bad eyes. So I always got to make sure it's not just me if there's a cat screen issue. But yeah, the Giver. Yeah, terrible film. I don't know once again why they decided to make this movie as a film, this book to a movie. Hopefully, I said I read partial the book. The book, what I read about half of it. It's better already, so I'm not sure when they go through the script what do they feel is necessary, what they feel is important to tell. I'm not sure they get reader feedback because there's some things that they probably should have put, and that's in every film, every book to film. I think they need to maybe go through, fans, what aspects do you feel are really important in this book that you would love to see on screen, because I mean it'll obviously be a better film because if they read the book and know all about it, it will definitely be something that will be really good for people who don't know. Because if you never read this book, yeah, obviously it's crap on screen, so you're never going to be inclined to want to read the book. There's some films I watch, like Fault in the Star, for example. I did read the book, but that is something that if you never read the book, I think it will make you want to go read the book just because it's such a great film. Okay, the book has to be equal or better, And The Giver is definitely not one of those things that makes you want to pick up the book. Anything makes you want to burn the book if you own it. But yeah, so definitely Giver. Terrible film. I checked out 15 minutes. I don't even know if it gets better or worse in 15 minutes. I would say, you know what? This is not worth my free movie pass. I just walked out. So,
Oh, walkout. Okay. All right.
walk out.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, walk out. Yes, correct, walk out. So, yeah, I never do walkouts at our screenings. But I'm like, I'm going as a regular now. Yeah, I can walk out. It's not,
Oh,
not bad. But yeah, I walked out.
okay. Now, I am really, really curious as to what your worst film is gonna be. Well, no, we haven't done your number two. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So my number
Okay.
two, I don't think you've seen this in any aspect, but Winter's Tale. Do you ever see that one?
No, I still have not seen it. I have it, but I haven't have been able to bring myself to take the time to watch it yet. I know the wife
All right.
wants to see it, so I know I will see it at some point.
Thank you. You get some advice. I wouldn't watch it. Actually, I would watch it. There's one scene that's absolutely funny as hell. What it is, just Will Smith plays this absolutely horrible character. But yeah, this movie's long, boring. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Uh,
I think you're gonna find it pretty
is
terrible.
is Will Smith playing? And remember, I didn't coin this phrase, but I used it when we saw If I Stay. He's not playing the magical Negro, is he?
Oh, he's playing something far worse than the
Oh,
Magic.
okay. He's not the magical Negro. Okay, all right. Carry
Yeah,
on.
yeah, he's playing something far worse. I don't want to spoil it for
Okay,
you.
yeah, don't spoil it.
If you do watch it, yeah, you're gonna be like, wow. Oh yeah, so definitely, Winter's Tale was long. It's very long, boring. People fell asleep in this movie like three or four times because it dragged on and on and on. Which, like my number one film, also did the same thing. But yeah, like Winter's Tale, terrible film. When you watch it, just let me know what
Now,
your thoughts are.
correct me if I'm wrong. This was one of the Valentine's Day movies that came out, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
and there were
With
like
Colin Farrell.
there
Yeah.
were three films that screened that day. The same day that one was. There were two other screenings that day, and I don't remember now what they were. I think it was About Last Night and something else. Endless Love. Yes.
Right. Endless
Yeah.
Love. Yes.
Yeah. I chose About Last Night. I think you. What did you? You went to Endless Love, or did you go to Winter's Tale?
Winter's Tale I went through like at National City, so I
Oh, okay,
saw
okay,
all three of these films.
okay,
Yeah, so I
okay,
saw Winter's Tale at National City,
okay. Yeah,
and yeah.
yeah. So I the only reason why I skipped it is because I chose to see About last night rather than. I mean, I probably would have skipped it anyway, but that was the only reason why that was. Sometimes they do that to us. They put the same screenings on the same night. We're only one person. Okay, now I think you know what my number one is, so I'm gonna have you go first because I'm really curious of what your worst film of the year is because I'm looking at mine and I'm looking at a few that I left off and I haven't heard one yet or that you haven't mentioned. So go ahead, sir. I'm super curious. What is your choice for the worst film of 2014 so far?
All right, my number one is pretty much a group. It's anything Michael Bay has directed or produced this year. I mean, I talk about Transformers tremendously. That movie alone is probably the worst one I've seen. But Ninja Turtles, I didn't like. I know you like Ninja Turtles. I hated Ninja Turtles, but the
We'll
one
have to do a whole nother show on just Ninja Turtles probably
yes,
alone at
but
some
the
point.
one I want to spend some time on, I think this is probably on your list, maybe, is The Purge. The Purge, Anarchy, whatever it wants to be called, that movie was the reason why I hate this movie has the worst character I've ever seen. Callie, that girl was so annoying. I mean, if I was Frank Grillo, I would have shot her my damn self.
All
She
right.
was so annoying.
Can I interrupt
Go
you
ahead.
real quick?
Go ahead.
The Purge Anarchy is my worst film of the year.
I figured. I
Of
figured.
the year as well. So I'll talk. Go ahead. I'll jump in when you're done.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, the Purge. I thought the first Purge was bad, but after seeing this one, I actually rewatched the first Purge. The first Purge wasn't bad now compared to this piece of crap.
Well,
But yeah,
you're comparing apples and cantaloupes.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Purge. Once again, great premise. I don't know why they just don't go take this premise further. You know, let's get more killing, let's get more something. But Callie was
Absolutely
absolutely
annoying. I agree with you.
absolutely annoying. The worst character. I mean, some of the best scenes. You know, I'm sure mostly everyone has seen it by now. But of course, the scene where when he went to the friend's house and the friend just started going off on everybody. That
Yeah,
was kind of a nice little
yeah,
surprise. I was like, whoa, cool. But hands down, the best people in this film were the black people,
yeah,
the kids. They were the smartest people in this whole
yeah.
entire film. You know. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't understand. You know, of course, the car has to break down
Yeah.
randomly. Come on, everything just sets up so perfectly in this film. But once again, yeah, Michael Bay produces, I believe, so you get the typical formula, just explosions, killing, no kind of plots or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely hate this film. Mainly, Callie is the reason.
Callie. Well, I'm in a firm agreement with you, as you know, because this is another film that we saw together. It made Hill Street Views history as the first film since I've had the blog about 2 years now that I gave 0 stars to. I know I gave 0 stars to something else as well, but The Giver. But this was the first one, and I was like 0 stars. There's got to be something. And as I was writing my review, and again, we'll give people a little insight. We typically don't really make up our minds on reviews until we're writing them. At least that's
Right.
how I am.
Yeah,
We'll
same here.
give a general idea. I mean, I know I flip flopped on a couple of films. You flip flopped on a couple of films because I'll read your review and I'm like, well, what? You said you hated that. What do you mean?
Right.
You're giving it 3 stars now? And so I knew I didn't like it. But as I was writing the review, I'm going, okay, there's got to be something redeemable about it. I can't give a film no stars whatsoever. And there wasn't a thing. Everything, any minor thing that would come up, there would be something else that made me think, yeah, but still. Like the scene you're talking about with the boyfriend going buck wild in the apartment. That was kind of cool, but that's not enough to give it a half a star. I can't recommend give a 2-minute scene enough to say, hey, here's a half a star for this 2 minutes of film. There were so many things wrong with it, and I didn't even like the first Purge that much. So the same thing. Now I do admire them for trying to give the fans what they wanted this time.
Right.
The anarchy part of it, the whole out in the street thing. But I still have a problem with why are these people wearing masks? I don't understand it. If crime is legal, if you can get away with it, and you kill somebody, and you can't be punished for it. What does wearing a mask have to do? And I said it in my review of The Purge. I said it in this review. The mask and things are for us, the audience, so we are creeped out. But it's not creepy. It's not scary because it's not well directed. As you said, none of the characters have any originality to them, no redeeming qualities. And when I say no redeeming qualities, they're not bad people. They're just not interesting. One of the lead characters dies, and there's no I didn't care. You know,
Right.
if you have a death as one of your main characters and you have no feeling on it whatsoever, there's one of two things: it's bad writing or it's bad acting, and this, unfortunately, is both. Will there be a Purge 3? I'm sure. I don't know the numbers. You're more the numbers guy than I am. I think it probably made its budget back. Even if it didn't, it probably will make it back on home video at least, and overseas. That would at least warrant another one. Hopefully, maybe third time will be the charm. Maybe they'll get it right. I think, and here we go. Let's rewrite the film. I think it would be better suited. I like the three stories. I did like the fact that they tried that, although the three separate stories converged into one, so it really not three separate stories. The next movie. Are you listening, Hollywood? The next movie, let's make three separate stories, but in three separate cities.
Right.
So the three stories have no way of converging. There you go.
Yes. Yep. That sounds well. That sounds good. Great idea.
See? I'm telling you, send us your scripts. We'll make them better. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That's our. And let me just mention my dishonorable mentions real quick. These are the ones that were close, but not close enough. Brick Mansions, 3 Days to Kill, Need for Speed, and Tyler Perry's Single Moms Club. Those are the dishonorable mentions. Those are the. Don't think I forgot about you, but you just were not, quote unquote, bad enough to make the bad list. So
Right.
Go ahead and run down your complete list again.
My complete list. Starting number 10, I had Tyler Perry's Single Moms Club. Number 9, I had both Hercules films this year. Number 8, I, Frankenstein. Number 7, Paranormal Activity, the Mark Ones. Number 6, Vampire Academy. Number 5, we got Brick Mansions. Number 4, we got RoboCop. Number 3, we got Ride Along. Number 2, Winter's Tale. And number 1 is just Michael Bay in general. Is number 1. So congratulations, sir. I know you don't care, Michael Bay, though, but congratulations anyways.
What was that quote? Haters gonna hate. They gonna go see it.
Exactly.
Like
So
that.
I know you don't care, Michael Bay. That's great. So I'm just letting you know. I don't care about your films either. But yep. So what about yours?
All
What's
right,
your rundown again?
My rundown is number 10, Into the Storm. Number 9, If I Stay. Number 8, Vampire Academy. Number 7, Snowpiercer. Number 6, Labor Day. Number 5, Blended. Number 4, Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. Number 3, Ride Along. Number 2, The Giver. And number 1, and we're in complete agreement, The Purge Anarchy. And I must say, if we see a film that's worse than The Purge Anarchy by the end of the year, Hollywood has no hope.
Yeah, that's why now I'm kind of picking and choosing now on films, but I think The Purge will probably be safe. Only one that
so
might,
too.
only one that might do it is Paranormal Activity. That's the only one to me. It's either gonna make it or break it because it's the fifth one, so it needs to be like Saw. Saw started really good. Saw started getting terrible the year after that. So Paranormal Activity, I'm watching you. You're the one I think might sneak in there, make a quick little sneak in to number 1. So.
All right. And just to give listeners a little information, although again we don't recommend any of these films, at least on my list. I don't have a list of yours, but my list available right now on home video are Ride Along, Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, Blended, Labor Day, Vampire Academy, 3 Days to Kill, Need for Speed rather, and Tyler Perry's Single Moms Club. I do believe Winter Tale is now available, but again, we're not endorsing.
Yes, it is.
We're not endorsing these. We're not endorsing a Redbox rental, but we just at least want to give you the listener a little FYI. So there you have it. That's our worst list of the year. We've got 3 more months left to go. We're moving into Oscar season, so hopefully there'll be more movies to put on our best and worst list. But the year ain't over yet, so you'll never know. We want to thank you guys for listening. Again, my name is Sean Hill, better known as Hill Street Views. You can catch my reviews on HillStreetViewz.blogspot.com. James, where can they find you at, brother?
My website is Cinemeleon, Cinemeleon, or you can also find my reviews posted on the Sessions Films as well. But yeah, Sean, it's been a great time. First time we're linking up, so
Yeah,
we've been trying to do this for a while, and we got to do our part two, of course, for the best
best.
films of the year. But before we do that, what films are you looking forward to the rest of the year? If you can
Um,
name a few.
the walk. Gosh, and I cannot think of the name of the Liam Neeson one.
Oh, Walk Among the
Yes,
Tombstones.
looking forward to that. Looking forward to This Is Where I Leave You. That one looks like a little smart, kind of quirky comedy, and I think we're both looking forward to this. I know you are because you posted about it. Gone Girl.
Yes, Gone Girl. Although Mr. Tyler Perry, you might sneak in as the
Yeah,
best film, but just know it's not. Won't be from your performance, but he might sneak into the best on there.
yeah,
So
and one more. I will list one more. Only as a pure cinematic experience. I don't expect this film to do anything critically, but it's Denzel. So I'm looking forward to the Equalizer. Anytime I get to see Denzel do his thing on
and
film.
Chloe's in that one too. Chloe's in that
Yeah,
one too.
yeah. Anytime I get to
So,
see Denzel do his thing, that's always piques my interest. So what are you looking forward to?
of course, looking to October is going to be the big month for me. We got Annabelle.
Oh,
We
Annabelle. How
got
could I forget about
yeah.
Annabelle?
Got Gone Girl, like I said, Paranormal Activity. I mean, I love horror films, but of course, I can't leave you to mention this one. But Hunger Games, especially after we saw Jennifer Lawrence photos leaked, but definitely Hunger Games. I think will break Guardians of the Galaxy's record. That's the only film I think the rest of the year that's going to be absolutely the most anticipated film. I mean, the last one was good. I finally think we're getting to the nitty gritty of the Hunger Games series.
Yeah.
So I definitely can't wait for those films. So
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Again, we're gonna sign off. We appreciate you listening and listen to our show, the best of 2014 so far. That one's gonna be coming up soon. So check us out. We appreciate it. And with that, we say peace.
peace.